All right, let's just dive right in. Today, we're going to demystify a word that is absolutely everywhere in tech. You know the one. A word that can sometimes feel like a secret handshake you were never taught. We are, of course, talking about DevOps.
You felt this, right? It's that one term that pops up, and all of a sudden, you feel like maybe you should just stick to writing your code while the real engineers go handle all that big, serious infrastructure stuff. If that's ever been you, well, you're in exactly the right place. Because it's often sold as this big, scary, complicated monster.
But here's the secret. It's really not about being some kind of genius who knows 100 different tools. It's actually a way of thinking. So today, let's pull back that curtain step by step and really figure out what the big deal is. To really get DevOps, you've got to understand the problem it was created to solve. See, for decades, the way we built software was based on a fundamental conflict, a constant, super frustrating tug of war between two really important teams. So on one side, you've got your developers, and their whole mission is to innovate, build new features, get them out to users as fast as humanly possible. But on the other side, you've got the operations team, and their mission? Keep the lights on, keep everything stable, secure, running smooth as silk. To them, any change is a risk. You see the problem, right? Devs want speed and change, ops want stability and safety. This led to this culture where developers would just kind of toss their code over the wall and leave ops to deal with whatever broke. It was slow, it was inefficient, and there was a whole lot of finger pointing. Yeah, something had to change. And that something was DevOps. Now listen, if you only get one thing from this, let it be this. DevOps is not a job title. It's not a piece of software you can just go buy. At its very heart, DevOps is a peace treaty. It's a cultural shift designed to completely break down that wall and finally end the tug of war. So if we had to put a pin in it, what is it exactly? Well, it's really three things all at once. First, it's a culture of shared ownership where dev and ops work together, like on the same team with the exact same goal. Second, it's a set of practices that make that collaboration even possible. And third, it's a super powerful toolbox full of automation that makes the whole thing a reality. You know, I love this analogy because it just makes the whole idea click. Imagine your application is a fancy restaurant. The developers, they're the chefs in the back, cooking up amazing new dishes. That's your code. The operations team, they're the front of house staff, making sure every single dish gets to the customer's table perfectly every time. DevOps is the system that connects that kitchen to the dining room, making sure the entire place runs like a well-oiled Michelin star machine instead of just, a chaotic mess. Okay, so a culture of shared ownership is great and all, but how do you actually make that work when things are moving a million miles an hour? Well, the answer is automation. The tools we're about to talk about are the engine that brings the entire DevOps philosophy to life. Let's just quickly look at the four big ones. So pretty much everything starts with Git, and you should think of it less as just a tool and more as the project's single source of truth. It's like a time machine that logs every single change made to the code, which means you can rewind at any moment. This is what allows an entire team, or heck, an entire company, to work on the same code without it all turning into complete chaos. Next up, CI/CD, which stands for Continuous Integration and Continuous Deployment. Think of this as the automated conveyor belt for your software. The second a developer saves a change, this pipeline just kicks in. It automatically builds the code, runs maybe thousands of tests to check for bugs, and then deploys it. And this isn't just for convenience. This is how companies like Netflix can deploy new code hundreds of times a day without you ever even noticing. It's speed and safety working together. And this one, this solves one of the oldest, most frustrating problems in software history. The classic, well, it works on my machine excuse. Docker is basically a standardized lunchbox for your application. It packages up your code with everything it could possibly need to run, all the libraries, the settings, the dependencies, into one neat little container. And that container will now run exactly the same no matter where it is. A developer's laptop, a test server, or in front of millions of users, doesn't matter. Okay, so you've got your perfect little container. But what happens when your app goes viral and you suddenly need thousands of them to handle all the traffic? That is the problem Kubernetes solves. If Docker makes the lunchbox, Kubernetes runs the entire cafeteria. It's the orchestra conductor that automatically manages, scales, and even heals all of your containers. It's basically the invisible magic behind almost every major online service you use today. So how do all these pieces, the culture, the collaboration, the tools, how do they actually fit together in the real world? Well, they form this continuous cycle of improvement, and we often visualize it as an infinity loop. Let's take a look. So this loop basically represents the entire life of a feature. It starts with a plan. Developers then code the solution. That CI/CD pipeline we talked about automatically builds and tests it. Once it passes, it's ready for release and gets deployed out to the users. The ops team then operates the live service and constantly monitors its health and performance. And here's the magic. All the data from that monitoring directly feeds back into the plan for the next great idea. It just keeps going. So the really crucial thing to get here is that this loop never truly stops. It's not a project with a start date and an end date. It's more like a flywheel. Each cycle makes the next one faster, smarter, and more reliable. It's a system that's literally built for constant learning and iteration, where dev and ops are partners at every single step of the way. Okay, so we've covered the culture, the tools, and the process. But why does any of this actually matter to you? What's the real-world takeaway here? Well, it's about making the leap from just guessing to doing professional, repeatable engineering. This is the bottom line right here. You can totally launch a side project with what I like to call vibe coding. Just pushing code to a server and kind of hoping for the best. But when real users and real money are on the line, that vibe coding quickly turns into vibe burning, as in burning the whole thing to the ground. DevOps is the framework for building software that lasts, that scales, and that doesn't wake you up with a panic-inducing alert at 3 in the morning. And if you're wondering where you fit into all of this is the perfect way to think about the DevOps mindset. You don't have to be the pilot, the mechanic, and the safety inspector all at once. The developers fly the planes, the ops team is the ground crew. With a DevOps mindset, you get to be the air traffic controller. You're the one up in the tower with a view of the whole system, connecting all the pieces and making sure every single flight takes off and lands smoothly and safely. So you see, DevOps isn't some monster hiding in the server room. It's a roadmap. It's the culture, the practices, and the tools that let all of us build better, more reliable software faster than ever before. It empowers teams to turn their ideas into reality with confidence and speed. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with it?